everyone. Today we will discuss about frontal bone. So frontal bone is a curved plate of pneumatic flat bone. Pneumatic because it contains frontal air sinuses. Now we'll see what are its parts. So it has got mainly three parts, that is upper vertical squamous part, then a pair of orbital plate which is horizontal, and in between that there is a U-shaped ethmoidal notch. So these are the main three parts: a vertical squamous part, then horizontal orbital plates, and then U-shaped ethmoidal notch. So this is the anatomical position of the frontal bone. Now we'll see each parts one by one. The first part, that is a vertical squamous part, has got external surface, internal surface, then a posterior margin. Posterior margin is also referred to as parietal margin. Now we'll see the external surface. So you can see here the squamous part is separated from the orbital part by a margin that is known as supraorbital margin. And this margin, you can feel here that is that it is sharp over the lateral 2/3, whereas it is rounded over the medial 1/3. And in between this lateral 2/3 and medial 1/3 part, there is a foramen that is known as supraorbital foramen that transmits supraorbital nerves and vessels. And just medial to that, the supratrochlear nerves and vessels also pass upwards, but there is no notch or foramen. So that's all about the supraorbital margin. And the supraorbital margin extends laterally. You can see here the tip articulates with the frontal process of the zygomatic bone to form frontozygomatic suture. And from the posterior surface of the frontozygomatic suture or the frontal process of the zygomatic bone, a line passes backwards and upwards. This is known as temporal line, and it splits into two that forms superior and inferior temporal lines, and these lines extend towards the parietal bone. Okay, so the region below the temporal lines is the temporal fossa, and that gives attachment to the temporalis muscle and temporal fascia. So we'll discuss that while we are learning about the parietal bone. So that's all about the superior and inferior temporal lines. Now you can see here the squamous part extends downwards. It has got a nasal part, that is, it is extending downwards. And this nasal part, the lower margin, has got a serrated margin. This margin, this serrated part, articulates with the nasal bones. The nasal bones, then you'll be having the maxilla coming here like this. So it will be articulated with the nasal bones, the frontal process of maxilla, and also the lacrimal bones. Now the in between the frontal bone and the nasal bone, you have got a frontonasal suture. In between the two nasal bones, you have got internasal suture. So the point of intersection between the internasal suture and the frontonasal suture, and this point is referred to as nasion. You can also get a nasal spine which arises downwards from the center of the posterior part of the nasal notch that articulates with the perpendicular plate of ethmoid and also with the crest formed by the joining of two nasal bones. And this forms the roof of the nasal cavity and also the major part of the nasal septum. Now other features of the external surface are, you can see just above the supraorbital margin there is an elevation. You can see here, this is the supraorbital margin. Just above that there is an elevation that is known as superciliary arch. On both sides you can visualize a superciliary arch, and superciliary arches of both sides join together in the center to form glabella. Glabella is a hairless region, and it is more prominent in males because of the large size of the frontal sinuses in males. And you can also get frontal tubers. The most prominent region is the frontal tubers. These are frontal tubers or frontal eminences, and this is more prominent in children and in females because inside it lodges the frontal pole of the frontal lobe of brain, and also the ossification center of the frontal bone arises from this region. So that's the importance of the external surface of the squamous part. Now we'll see the internal surface. You can see here the internal surface has got many grooves. So that means it lodges the gyri of the lobes of the cerebrum, and also you can also see some markings of blood vessels. So it can also lodge middle meningeal vessels. In the upper median part, you get the sagittal sulcus. The sagittal sulcus lodges the superior sagittal sinus. And when you're going downwards, you can see, and anteriorly you can see the sagittal sulcus meet at the frontal crest. This is the frontal crest. So the frontal crest and the margins of the sagittal sulcus gives attachment to the anterior part of the dural fold, that is falx cerebri. Now in front of the frontal crest you have got a notch, and there you get a foramen that is known as foramen caecum. The foramen caecum usually it does not transmit any other structures, but it can transmit emissary veins that communicate with the veins of the superior sagittal sinus with the veins of the nasal mucosa. So this is of importance in case of nasal bleeding, that is epistaxis. When there is raised intracranial pressure, that can lead to bleeding through these emissary veins, that can lead to nasal bleeding, which is also known as epistaxis. That's all about the internal surface of the squamous part. Now we have got a posterior margin or parietal margin. It is referred to as parietal margin since it articulates with the parietal bone, and the articulation of the parietal bone together gives rise to the coronal suture. Below on each side there is a rough part, triangular rough part that articulates with the greater wing of sphenoid bone. So that's all about the squamous part. Now we'll see the orbital part. So this is the orbital part. So it has got an orbital surface, a cerebral surface. Cerebral surface is coming here, and this is the orbital surface, and it has got three margins, that is the medial margin, lateral margin, and posterior margin. So we'll see the orbital part. Orbital part, as its name suggests, it forms a roof of the orbit. And here it has got an anterolateral part and anteromedial part. Anterolateral part lodges the orbital part of lacrimal gland. So it is referred to as the lacrimal fossa. The anterolateral part has got the lacrimal fossa, which lodges the orbital part of the lacrimal gland. And the anteromedial part has got a fossa, it is a depression or a spine that has got that gives attachment to the fibrocartilaginous pulley through which the superior oblique muscle of the eyeball passes and changes its direction. So that's the importance about the anterolateral and the anteromedial part. Now the cerebral part, that is the inside part, the cerebral surface, that lodges the frontal lobe of the brain. And you have got three margins. The lateral margin articulates with the greater wing of sphenoid, the posterior margin articulates with the lesser wing of sphenoid, and the medial margin articulates with the ethmoid bone. So the medial margins of both sides articulates with the ethmoid bone. You can also see two canals. You can see two canals, that is the anterior and posterior ethmoidal canals over the region of the medial margin, and this transmit the anterior and posterior ethmoidal nerves and vessels. The frontal sinus is exposed at the anterior part of the medial margin. Usually it is absent or rudimentary at birth, and this frontal sinus communicates with the middle meatus of the nasal cavity through frontonasal duct, ethmoidal infundibulum, and hiatus semilunaris. So that's all about the orbital plate. Next is the ethmoidal notch, that is a U-shaped ethmoidal notch that is seen between the medial margins of the orbital plates. This U-shaped ethmoidal notch occupies the cribriform plate of ethmoid bone, and it has got various apertures for the passage of olfactory nerves. And a word about the ossification. At birth, there is an interfrontal suture, which is also referred to as metopic suture, and it is replaced by bone by 2 years. So, in adult, you can see there is only a single frontal bone. We have discussed about the parts, the prominences, the foramens, the various structures passing through these regions. So you have to learn about all these, and always remember about the lacrimal fossa or the anterolateral part of the orbital plate, and about the fibrocartilaginous pulley which is attached to the depression or the anteromedial part of the orbital plate, about the frontal eminence. So I hope you understood this topic. Thank you.